Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In Psalm 74, we have Asaph describing the time in which the sanctuary was destroyed and put to fire. And this was a very devastating thing. Of course, the sanctuary was God's dwelling place among his people. It was the most cherished location in Jerusalem and even in Judah, and perhaps even, you could say, in Israel at large. But nonetheless, this was a complete tragedy. These adversaries, they come in and wreak havoc on the sanctuary. And Asaph is lamenting this. And he says in verse 10, "How long, O Lord, will the adversary reproach? Will the enemy spurn your name forever? Why do you turn back your hand, even your right hand, from within your bosom? Destroy them." And so Asaph is saying, Lord, why aren't you doing anything? Here we're witnessing these horrible atrocities, and yet, Lord, you don't seem to be doing anything about it. And Asaph is saying, Lord, how long are you going to let this go on? But then there's a turning point in the psalm, as we see with many of the psalms. There's a turning point of faith, we could say. In verse 12, he says, "Yet God is my king from of old, who works deeds of salvation in the midst of the earth." And he goes on and describe many of the powerful things that God had done. But it's that phrase, "Yet God is my king," that we want to focus on today. God is my king. This is very much a statement of faith. Faith is being able to still recognize God as king, even though we don't understand what he's doing, or we don't understand what we think he's not doing. This is a huge step in faith when we are able to look at our circumstances and our situations, and we see chaos, we see hardships and trials, and everywhere that we look, we're just dealing with a very hard situation, and we're pressed down, we're oppressed by our situation, and we don't really understand what's going on. And perhaps we say, "How long, Lord? How long will I have to deal with this affliction?" But then, somewhere deep within our heart, within our spirit, something cries out, "Yet God is my king." Being able to recognize that even despite all those things, God is my king. And even though I don't understand what's going on, I know that God is in control, that God is the king over my life. He has authority over my life, and really authority over all of creation. As Asaph would go on to describe, our God is sovereign, and he is the king. He is the king of us individually, but he's the king of all things. And we have to recognize that. And whenever we want to question God, and whenever we want to wonder why God is either doing what he's doing or allowing what he's allowing, we could say, you know what? Even though I don't understand, you are my king. And to be able to say those words allows us to reframe the situation in our minds. It allows us to process things a little bit better when we're able to recognize this. And it just helps us get through the situation. I'm sure Asaph was able to get through this a little bit better when he could reflect on and really conjure up in his mind the kingship, the rule of God in his life and then over the situation. So hopefully we'll do the same thing whenever we encounter similar situations. Hopefully we too can recognize God's royalty, his majesty, his kingship when we encounter difficult times, and submit to that and recognize that as we go through them. So these are some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.